really believe?
Well, I'm both glad and sorry you asked me that question. I'll do my best to answer it. I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive. To be a pessimist means that you have agreed that human life is an academic matter. So I'm supposed to be an optimist. I'm supposed to believe that we can survive whatever we must survive. But the Negro in this country, the future of the Negro in this country is precisely as bright or as dark as the future of the country. It is entirely up to the American people and our representatives. It is entirely up to the American people whether or not they're going to face and deal with and embrace this stranger whom they maligned so long. What white people have to do is try to find out in their own hearts why it was necessary to have a nigger in the first place. Because I'm not a nigger. I'm a man. But if you think I'm a nigger, it means you need it. The question you got to ask yourself, the white population of this country has got to ask itself, North and South, because it's one country, and for a Negro, there is no difference between the North and the South. There's just a difference in the way they castrate you. But the fact of the castration is the American fact. If I'm not the nigger here, and you invented him, you the white people invented him, then you got to find out why.
Well,
And the future of the country depends on that, whether or not it's able to ask that question.
Welcome back to Sistas Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Danny M., and we have a very special guest today. So, Mr. Siraj Wilson, thank you so much for being a guest on our show today. How you feeling?
Thank you for the invite. I'm honored to be on your platform. I feel good. I'm always feeling good. Always.
Feeling good, feeling great. I love to
Yes.
hear it. Now,
Yeah.
of course, today we're talking about you. We are honoring you today because this month is Black History Month.
Okay.
All right. We're
That's
talking
the honor.
about Black excellence.
Yes.
And I have to admit, you have been doing your thing.
I appreciate you for noticing me doing my thing.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it, man. And you've been doing your thing as well. You know what I'm
I
saying?
appreciate it. All right, but it ain't about me. It's about you. And I definitely want to pay homage, and
Right.
shout out my respects to you and your team.
Well, my name is Siraj Wilson, and I'm originally from New Orleans. I've been here in Texas, in Houston, for about 6 years now. And so I'm a poet. I do music, and I'm an actor as well, and I'm also a filmmaker, and also a host of my own show, who I had the pleasure of having Miss Danielle on my show, called Artist Access, where I do interviews and talk to a lot of artists and people throughout the city, upcoming artists and whatnot, and filmmakers and actors, and also, So I'm doing a lot of some of everything. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I know you have an event that's coming up, right?
I do. I have a stage play coming up next weekend. Can't we all just get along? That'll be Friday and Saturday, next Friday and next Saturday. Honored to be in that play. We have I don't know if you guys remember, they had a R&B group from the 90s, Men at Large. Well, one of the guys from that group is also in the play. So I'm honored to be working with that guy. So yeah. And I have my first poetry show. Of the year coming up in February the 17th. So that'll be my first poetry show of the year.
Let me pull that up. I'm gonna get that up on the screen in just a second. Yeah, you have a lot of great, amazing projects coming up. So that's the one on the 17th of February.
Yes, ma'am.
So guys, make sure you support.
For the love of poetry. Yeah.
You said you were from New Orleans, so that's a different upbringing in Louisiana than it is in Texas. How have you been adjusting, to this new state and new city?
Me adjusting here was kind of easy because, to be honest, Texas have allowed me to do all of the things that I've been wanting to do. You know what I'm saying? So like I did poetry a little bit in New Orleans, maybe a couple of times. I did a lot of poetry for family, like during the holidays and whatnot. But I only did it like at an actual event, maybe a couple of times in New Orleans. So the scene is not that big in New Orleans, and you had to be like in a loop to know about where it was going down at. And at the time, I wasn't really pretty much, I wasn't in a loop like that. So, but once I got to Texas, I Googled the poetry scene, and a bunch of stuff came up, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And not just those head first. I just started hitting people up, trying to get on their events. And I haven't stopped running ever since. I've just been getting it in. You know what I'm saying?
I do. And look, we snap fingers over here. And if you don't mind, I would like to play one of your segments. I think it was on your poetry segments here.
Yeah.
So if we can bring that up. And I love the fact that you told me that Texas has given you the space, you know, the platform, the space for you to be creative and show the world your skills. So if you don't mind, I'm going to play a clip.
Yeah, go ahead.
In the beginning was a spoken word, and the word was with God, and the word was God, and then that word became flesh, and so I guess that makes me poetry in motion, miraculously moving, metaphysically, mathematically, making musical memories, marrying mind and matter, meaning infinitely one. See, I'm mastering my mind because I constantly acknowledge that divine mastering mind, that divine feminine that can't vert to my divine masculine. From the holiest of holies is where you'll find the grand architect of this grand design. You see, sometimes the signs are sublime, but if you read in between the lines, you'll find the creatress of the greatest masterpiece of all times. And I am honored to play my part in this beautiful creation of art. And how ironic we find that word art in the middle of the word heart, because that's where all forms of creative expressions are born, including this poem. God is a poet. And it's so amazing the way that God writes words on invisible pages that manifest as dreams. The way God created my body, the heavens and the earth with hands that are unseen. I mean, on the same stream of life that my light has its being, God lives, moves, and has its being. From the unseen to everything that is seen, it's all a perfect expression of God's poetical rhyme scheme, which truly means that when I'm looking at you all, I'm looking at God, because we were all made in the image and likeness of. And furthermore, God is, therefore I am. And that's how I know for sure that God is a poet. It's simple. It's because I am. And as above, so below. And as within, as without. So without a doubt, the kingdom has come. And the enter is to realize that we are the kings and queens that have come, and we can no longer remain blind, deaf, and dumb to the knowledge of our higher self. I'm talking about the knowledge of our true self. I'm talking about that whole, complete, and perfect self. I'm talking about that powerful, harmonious, rich, and royal self of which we ought to be or become, which is really a journey of being as we were in the very beginning, children of the Most High, remembering that there is only one. I am Siraj Rakim, I'm Puakanat and Hotep, and this is the Artist Access.
Wow, I'm over here snapping fingers.
Yeah.
Very proud. My goodness.
That was actually the beginning of one of my podcast shows. Sometimes most of the time I do a little poem at the beginning of the show just to kind of get things popping. You know what I'm saying? So that was a clip from the show. You know. But
you can't just blaze over the depth of your poetry is insane.
Yeah. God is a poet. You know, that's how like that one came to me. A lot of my pieces, man, are like downloads. Like they just come. So like one day I was in my truck and my divine self said, pick up my notebook, and I picked it up, and what I wrote on the paper was God is a poet, and it just started coming out. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. It's profound because it's like you download it from the ether. You know what I mean? And you download it straight from the source.
That's what we're doing, whether we know it or not. Is the information is all it's like the internet. And so the information is out there, and you have to know how to kind of like tune into it, basically, you know?
Exactly.
And once you tune into it, you can get all this information, this endless amount of information that's available, you know?
Exactly. What has inspired you, to be poetic or be a poet, or basically you're an artist all around. That's why you call it artist access, right? Tell me a little bit more about your inspiration.
Oh man, really, it's God. A lot of my pieces are spiritual pieces like that. So I was doing music first. I was actually rapping first, but I was actually boxing first. So I put down the gloves because I wanted to. And boxing came easy to me. Like I ain't gonna lie, everything I pretty much do, I'm not trying to blow my own horn, but should be easy, like, right? So boxing was something that was very easy to me and natural. Since I was like 5 years old, I had been boxing. I had an older cousin that was boxing, and he put the gloves on us at a young age, and I seen I was good. So from me being little to in high school, I was going to be a boxer. But in high school, I started to do a lot of reading, and I've been spiritual, but in high school, I started to get a little more spiritual and more closer to the God within me. And I came to a point where I was like, I don't want to beat nobody up. Like, this is easy. I'd rather do something with my mind and with my words. So I started writing, and I started writing like just conscious music from the door. I was always doing conscious music. And so my poetry just is an extension of my music. You know what I'm saying? And so I just love to speak about who we really are, which I believe that we all are God. However you want to understand it. If we God's children, and the way I understand that is, we just a continuation of what God is, right?
Right.
So
exactly.
That's my inspiration is just to speak on that, and because that's pretty amazing to know how close we are to what God is. You know what I'm talking about?
I do, and I think that's the reason why it's easy for you to tap into every element and master it, because you are aware and you're conscious of it. Those are the key phrases that I'm picking up through you, and that's what makes you so powerful. And that's the reason why you're the epitome of Black excellence, because you are aware of that.
Right.
There's so many of us that aren't, right? And so when we think about Black excellence, I want to know your definition. What comes to mind when you hear somebody use that phrase, Black excellence?
Black excellence. I had a poem called Black Excellence, but to me, Black excellence is just being melanated is Black excellence. You know what I'm saying? And once you really understand and know what that means, you can tap into that part of you that holds so much of endless, powerful amazingness. You know what I'm saying? So God is amazing. God is excellent. So it's like I said, man, once you understand who and what we really are, and you start to use it and cultivate what that is, you can do some of the most amazing things, no matter what lane you want to choose to do it in. You know what I'm saying? So to me, Black excellence is just knowing who we are and using that to do something with, something positive, something constructive, something that can help others realize how amazing that they are if they don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I love
and
that.
So I believe that's a major part, is in like me knowing it holds no value if I don't let others know what I know, this powerful information. You feel me? So it's not for me to just know it and hold on to it. It's for me to share it and express it and help everyone to know this, so they can show us some amazing things too. Because I wanna see some amazing things. I love art. I love poets. I love watching too. So I do what I do to inspire others to show me what's inside of you. And so I believe it keeps it going. It keeps this thing called life going when each one keeps going. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
I agree with that.
Yeah.
That's some really good advice to individuals who are out there who are highly talented and they really don't know where to pour out their talent, or they don't know who to go to, or they're harvesting all of this information and talent. And
Right.
it's by them being selfish with it, they're not going to really be able to glow up. You know what I mean? And really thrive from the blessings and creativity that God has blessed them with. So I love the fact that you're not selfish with your talent.
Right.
You're all about the collective, and that's important. So speaking of the collective,
Yes.
so we look at people like some of the greats, like James Baldwin, Jackie Robinson, Alex Haley, Ralph Ellison, Carter Wilson, even Gladys Mae West. She's one of the African American women responsible for the mathematical computation of the GPS system. We had the honor of interviewing her on the Sistas Talk podcast. And these people are phenomenal, and they don't always get the, I guess, exploitation as other greats before them of different cultures. But I want to know, in your opinion, how far do you believe we've come as a culture in here we are in 2024, in your mind, based on, if you just look on the last 100 years, how far do you feel like we've come?
We've come far, but looking at the bigger picture, we got so far to go. You know what I'm saying? But we got to celebrate. I believe we have to celebrate. However far you think we've come, it needs to be celebrated and acknowledged, because it's all steps to the bigger picture of us getting where we need to be at. So I believe we've come pretty far. You know what I'm saying? From when I was young into now, we've came pretty far. You know what I'm saying? Because like a lot of people, the younger generation behind me, under us, they kind of understand it. They understand a little more than we did at our age. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they doing things that we wasn't doing at the age back then. We was a younger. You know what I'm saying? They got a lot of young kids who starting their own businesses. They out there doing their thing. You know what I'm saying?
They really are. Some of them are even millionaires, before the age of 20.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so the information is out there. So like the information, they have more access to the information. That's what it is. So they can go online and get this information that we couldn't get when we was young. You know what I'm saying? We were dealing with just what was available. And so, I believe we come a long way. But like I said, we got so much far to go. Got a long way to go.
And I couldn't agree with you more. We do still have quite a way to go. Now, I want to put up an image that I saw. And while I do that, tell us about how many years have you been doing poetry?
Like I said, I started doing music first. I started doing music like in ¡96. But my music was always like poetry. Like back in the days in '96, we would send out demo tapes to all these major record labels. So I was doing that back then, and they was loving the music, but they would always tell me a lot that your music sound like poetry. I got that a lot. You feel me? Because I was always talking about so many deep topics to where it kind of, I guess, it was too much to say it was music. You know what I'm talking about? So. And
that's really crazy, not to interject. It's really crazy for someone to feel that way, because this is the type of music that we need to listen to.
Right. Yeah. So I would say in '96. I would say '96 when I started poetry. My music was like poetry, Yeah.
1996. You're not a amateur. You've been doing this for a minute. So this is 2024. You've been doing this since '96. 28 years.
Right. So when I actually started doing actual poetry, it was, to me, I had already been prepared from me doing the music thing. So me getting on stage and performing, that was nothing for me. You know what I'm saying? Because like I already had been performing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And I noticed how you knew when to breathe, you knew when to pause. I was like, wow, this is perfection. But 28 years, I expect nothing. Can you tell us a little bit about this event? Because maybe other Black men would like to attend.
This was an event that me and my guy who I do my artist access show was who I do that show with. We attended this event and we was a part of the media crew for this event. But this was a powerful event, man. This is a group called 100 Black Men, right? Mm-hmm. And they do a lot of positive stuff in the community. And that night they were honoring some of the people in this group for the work that they've been doing throughout the year. And so I was honored to be there. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mind becoming a member of the 100 Black Men Metropolitan. You know what I'm saying? Because it was that night was Black excellence. You feel me?
Absolutely.
I'm talking about them people came out tuxedoed out, and people they spoke elegantly about what they do. And the end of the night, with Carl Thomas performed that night at the event.
Shout out to Carl Thomas. I met him before.
Yeah, that was an amazing event. But that's the kind of stuff like that's what I'm saying. Like that was Black excellence. You feel what I'm saying? So like there's a lot of people out here that we're doing the work, but like a lot of things don't get the coverage like that.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of good things that's being done in our community. That's why I said we come a long way. If you want to know anything, it's all available. It's about really a personal choice that a person has to want to know and change their life. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So at this stage, it's not a collective; it's an individual thing. You know, you can't save everybody. Each person has to be ready to save themselves. Is what today calls for. Mm-hmm.
And that's something I had to learn as a Black woman is that I can't save everyone. And that when you expend so much energy doing that, you're really taking away from your own purpose, right? Yeah. I want to ask you, how do you think that you've contributed as a Black man to society?
I'm doing my part. I feel I'm doing my part as an individual who's taking the responsibility to teach myself. You know what I'm saying? To teach myself and to be an example of what we can do once we stop being afraid and just step into the world and do whatever you want to do that's positive. You know what I'm saying? Something that can help you feed your family and show everyone. Like I said, I believe everyone has something within them that they have within them. We came here with it already. Everybody came with something in them, something powerful that they can live off of. You ain't gotta work no job. I believe you got within you the businesses. You ain't gotta be working for another man's business, but you can create your own business. So everything that I'm doing, I'm doing it to inspire others to go within themselves and pull out all of these gifts that they're carrying within themselves. So like I said, that's my music is all about that. My poetry is all about that. The movies that I'm doing, like I'm doing movies that you don't normally see on the movie screen. I'm doing the same thing with my poetry with the movies. I'm trying to teach and enlighten and share information with the movies. So through the movies, it's an extension of my poetry. You know, I'm doing movies I'm showing the good sides of relationships, you know what I'm saying? The good and bad sides of relationships, you know what I'm saying? I'm trying to do movies about the spiritual part of us, as far as dealing with the energies that we possess and how to understand how to use your energies and how to control your emotions and all of that good stuff, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like I'm just doing my part, and the part that I'm doing is to show each one to do their part, you know? Like I say, it's an individual thing, and once everybody start doing their part, that's when you'll start seeing some leaps and bounds as far as the collective start to happen in the community. And it's happening. It's happening right now, but it's going to happen more and more faster the more each individual starts to take responsibility on for themselves and their family. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, facts. Yeah, that's beautiful. And I want to ask you, I want to touch on what you just said about when people stop being afraid, you know, to really do the work. Why do you have an idea of why people would be afraid to really?
Let me tell you something. For me, it was crazy. For me, I remember being in high school, not high school, like middle school, and I I wasn't afraid like other people be afraid. I was afraid. I always knew that I had something special, and I always knew that I was special and different. So, but I was afraid to let my light shine because I was afraid of the attention that came with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was afraid of the all eyes on me factor and doing good things or being shining or whatever, so-called shining, right? So, but once I was like, you know what? They looking anyway. So I'm like, whether I'm doing it or not, they stay looking. So let me just get out there and just do what I do. You know what I'm talking about? So, but fear, like I said, people. So for me, I was afraid to let my light shine. I know I had light on me, and I was afraid. I didn't want people looking at me, right?
Right.
So, but I mean, each person has their own fear that kind of that they dealing with. But really, fear is not even real. Like what it is all in your is mental. Is a mental thing to where your energy is not. You're not using your energy correctly, and so instead of holding, but fear is you trying to hold yourself small, but naturally your energy is meant and designed to expand, right?
Correct.
So that's fear to me. Fear is people trying to stop the natural process of their being that's trying to expand and grow, but for whatever reason you trying to hold it in and stop it. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So
You're teaching me something right now. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fact. So many people find themselves in some horrible places mentally and physically because of that very reason, because they're suppressing their inner God, which is huge, you know. We gotta let it out. We gotta let it shine. I couldn't agree more. So let me ask you this. Because you dropped a lot of gems on the show today. I want to thank you so much for that. But I have one important question I want to ask you. What changes do you want to see in our culture?
Changes I want to see in our culture. Oh man, just the hate. There's still a lot of people that's still dealing with a lot of ego. You know, I see a lot of ego still in the Porsche community, just in the world, period. And the ego is another aspect of that fear thing. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's not even real, but if people can understand what the ego is and put it to rest or control it, you know, because ego is a form of fear. Because people, for whatever reason, they'll is an emotional thing, right? So the ego just is the fake you with what it is the you that's trying to step in and play the part that's not really you.
Is sometimes the lack of confidence in reverse. Honestly,
that part, yeah. So you got people who you got people who like they're afraid of your light, and they think that because you're shining, that for some reason your light is gonna dim their light, right? So then their ego come up and they go to acting, doing all kind of weird stuff out of that fear. You know what I'm saying? But when really we all, just like this thing behind me, we all are like glass jars that are lights. You know what I'm saying?
I had already read it. Yeah, when you first came on.
Right. Yeah. So like nobody can outshine no one. Like we all are here, we're here to shine. You know what I'm saying?
It's like you said earlier, we all come to earth with these special talents and gifts.
Right.
It's our job to understand how you said, manage our energy, allow our light to shine, and control our egos. Because that's a part of human emotion. Ego, pride, fear. Unfortunately, one of those emotions, irrational emotions that we harbor too, that we harness. But I couldn't agree more. You know, all of us have been in situations and scenarios where we come into a room, we're vibrant, everybody, we draw the attention of the room, and a lot of people lack confidence because of that. A lot of people
handle your light. They can't handle that light.
A lot of people feel small because of your light. And I always say, if your presence impedes on other people's confidence, you're in the wrong room. You need to be in a room with individuals that you actually look up to, that you inspire to admire to be like them emotionally or business savvy, like, you know, things of that nature. There has to be someone that you look up to, because if you're in a room full of people that look up to you, then you're going to deal with a lot of unfortunate jealousy, you know, a lot of unfortunate doors closed because, like you said, they don't want your light to outshine theirs. So a lot of unnecessary competition versus what we really need to be doing is unifying.
Right. But when I ain't gonna lie, when I come into those situations, I shine even brighter. I don't get small just because someone else is insecure about their own energy or whatnot. So and me shining brighter is really still doing what is the whole purpose of I'm trying to get you to shine brighter, shine brighter as well. Right. So like I just keep on being great and like I said, I just keep God in mind when I come in any kind of encounters with energy unlike mine or unlike the natural state of energy. I really don't even pay any attention to it. I just constantly acknowledge my divinity. You feel me? And once I do that, even the people that be operating in ego, I've learned to not even acknowledge. I see it, but I don't acknowledge. I don't give it any attention, and I still see who they really are, which is a divine presence.
Correct. Maturity. That's the maturity in you, because a lot of us, it just took me recently to get to that level of saying I'm not gonna address it. I'm not gonna respond to it. You know, that's my growth curve that I'm finally arriving. It took many years.
Me
but
too.
Keep going.
It took me a minute too, because I used to be when I was younger, I used to feel like it was my God-given duty to challenge these people who was operating in this negative energy. So I would be the first one to be like, don't play with me or God's children. You hear me? I was ready to put some hands on you or do whatever to deal with the opposite energy type of thing. But it took me a while to realize that the battle that's not where the battle takes place at. You feel me?
At all.
The battle was really is an inner battle. It's really within me.
Yep.
And so really when you seen other things popping up in your experience, the truth about it is it be the universe trying to show you that you got some of that still within you, right?
You have to grow. You have to learn how to overcome that barrier.
Yeah. So when you face those, so it'd be like it's always a mirror. It's the mirror. This whole experience is the mirror. So when you get faced with those other energies and those egos, it'd be the universe trying to show you got a little bit of that in you. And how you know it's still in you is how you're gonna react or respond to it when you faced with these other things, right?
Absolutely.
And so like I used to clap back. I used to be ready to clap back, but now it don't really bother me like that. I still see the Christ or the God within them, and once I do that, that's what show up. Like I'm talking about people that transform right in front of your face. You feel me? That's the power that we really have. That's the power that we really have that power. You feel me? To change this outer experience like that. You feel me?
And one thing I'm noticing too, the greatest emotion that really solves everything is love. Love could be being silent. Love could be actually showing love. Love could be listening and then responding rationally. Love comes in many different forms, right?
Yes,
and I
thought
about that. Love can make you fall in love. Love can make you kill. Love can make you steal. Love can make you do some heinous things, and love can make you do some extraordinarily godly things. Love is the most powerful emotion on earth, right?
Yes, it is. It's the highest and strongest emotion.
For the love of a man or woman, for the love of a child, love of a pet. I mean, we could just go down the list. Love will make you do some crazy things. That's a song.
Right. Right.
You know, so it just I feel like it takes time and experience, because when I was younger, I would hear a lot of people say, oh, it's just a reflection. I'm like, no, I don't totally agree with that saying, because we all possess our own personalities, our own different experiences. And I may say something to you, Siraj, that triggers something from your past that I'm completely unaware about, right? I'm unaware of. However, if I'm immature with my emotions, because I haven't had enough life experiences yet, then I may continue to drag that argument on, which we see a lot of Black relationships end up breaking up because of these little petty arguments that build up into grander issues, right? But I think one of our challenges is Black people, especially Black people, being under constant stress, chronic stress is what I call it. We have to learn how to manage our emotions. We have to learn to manage our energy. That's one of the most profound gems I took away from this particular segment with you today, because if we can do that and we can overcome a lot of disagreements within our home, keep our marriage strong, keep our family bonds together, and keep our children bonds strong as well, I think we'll start winning more, in life. That's profound advice you've given the audience today.
Yes.
Absolutely. Now I want to ask you, before we wrap this up, are there any final comments that you would like to provide the audience? Any takeaways before we go?
Man, just meditate, like really know how to find you a quiet space. To the people that's watching, you know what I'm saying? Sit with yourself. Know how to get with yourself and get that alone time, man, because that alone time, you're not alone. Like, you occupy this space with a divine presence, and this divine presence is not just with you, it is you, right?
Right.
And so once you know how to sit with that presence, that greater portion of what we are, and really know how to merge with it and become one with it, and talk to it and ask it questions. The things you don't have answers for, like, know how to ask this presence that's right here with you. So, like, people be thinking what God is so far from them, and that space that they're thinking that's the reason why they're getting the results they're getting, because they're thinking that God is so far from where they're at. But once you realize how close God is with you, that's why I say it's not just with you, it is you, right?
Exactly.
So just learn to be one with that presence and talk to it, ask it questions, love on it, and let it love on you. And you'll start to get these downloads. Like, you'll just start to get information and understanding, or just come to you, because you are a part of it. You're not separated from it. You are one with it. And so, like, by you knowing that, it'll change the experience on how you experience what it really is.
Absolutely. I love it. Tell people where they can find you on Facebook. Are you on TikTok?
I'm on TikTok. I guess I'm on TikTok as Siraj Wilson on TikTok. I'm on Instagram as Siraj Rakim, and I'm on Facebook as Siraj Wilson. And my YouTube channel for the show is Artist Access. So y'all go subscribe, like, and share. Yes.
Please. I'm telling you, this man is doing some amazing work, guys. And make sure you go check out his show on February the 17th. If you're in the Houston area, go check him out. Support Black excellence. That's the whole purpose of why we do Sistas Talk Podcast, is to promulgate that information about all the business owners that we have in this major city. I mean, we have more people moving into this city, seems like every day. So we need to do a better job, in my opinion, with supporting each other, because running a business of any kind is not easy, And so that support, we welcome that support. And I just wanted to shout you out one more time. This man does his thing, guys. He's not just up there talking. You heard the poetry for yourself. And again, I just want to thank you for gracing the stage today, Mr. Wilson.
Thank you.
Keep doing what you do. I'm telling you, man, because we need people like you. More specifically, we need Black men in our community like you.
Right. And you too, man. Like, I'm talking about this about me, but you are doing great work. That's how I even was able to find you and get you on my show, because I seen all that you were out here doing. You know what I'm saying? So